Welcome to the center of it all. We have a full show, so let's get started. Good morning and thank you for joining me on the center of it all. We are taking full advantage of the break in rain clouds today, and we're in the lush and green Arboretum in State College. Now, it may have been raining nonstop the past couple of weeks, keeping us inside, but it didn't stop CPI students. They were outside working almost every single day because for them it was the least they could do for one man who has already given so much.
Coming out here and knowing it's for a great cause, it's one of those things we look forward to coming. And I've always noticed, we could be having a really bad day, and as soon as we get to the job site, we just hammer things out because we know it's for a good cause. So there's that enthusiasm on top of this, you're doing something great that most kids don't get the chance to do.
Developed 3 years ago, E.P. Henry's Heroescape serves as a way to give back to those who have served our nation. And while each project is great in its own respect, here in central Pennsylvania, the project pulls double duty.
It's a way for them to get real hands-on industry specifications for the base, for the material, for leveling, all that, even right down to the cutting. So these live work projects give us an opportunity to get out of the classroom, be on a live job site and work and be successful at it.
When we get all this coverage, which we never expected to have, we see all this news coverage and everybody's, oh, that's such a great thing, you guys are so amazing, that's outstanding. They're shocked and put back by how much we've been able to accomplish and how great it is. And to us, that's just well, we never thought of it that way. To us, this is second nature. To everybody else, this is you guys are high school students and you do amazing things.
Amazing projects bring out the best in everyone involved. Something easy to see up close.
We donated material to the Central Pennsylvania Home Show, and then with the expectation that material was going to be used in the Heroescaping project. Little did I know that CPI and Joe Luther stepped right up for the program and helped us out that first year with a project at the Legion in State College. It's just very nice to be able to give back to everybody that's given so much to us. 83 nominations were vetted. Vince Reynolds of State College was chosen.
Every time they're out here, I try to go out and associate with them and, just try to be on a personal level. I mean, they're doing such an enormous, thing for me. The least I can do is, be humble and friendly with them. Obviously, I want to share my story with them too, so they understand, that, what I did and how I even deserve such a thing. Because in my eyes, I don't deserve this. That's I guess that's what gets me the most.
Simply put, Vince deserves this. His story is that he was ready to re-up before an IED took his lower left leg in Afghanistan. He's grateful that the students work to rebuild part of his past.
Minor change is an understatement for what it's going to be. Now I can, if we want to have family gatherings and stuff like that, we were kind of limited before, whereas where I used to live, we had some land and we were able to do things like that. Now, we have that capability once again. Another big thing is the one thing that I requested was a fire pit. My daughters have been pestering me to cook s'mores and stuff like that, and when we used to have land, we used to be able to have bonfires and do stuff like that, and then we moved closer to town and didn't have the means to do that, and they put a fire pit in for us, and now we can do that stuff again. And yesterday I actually brought her by the house, and she was so excited to see it.
This project, the students, E.P. Henry, and myself can never fully repay Vince, but what it can do is at least bring back a smile.
These type of projects do change, a person because, Vince has been great. He's been telling his story. I mean, he tells the story to the students.
That final wow factor that they have seen construction through the whole way, but the final end polished result is really nice for them to see, and it's great to see their reaction to that.
I just would like to thank every single person that's been involved. It's been such a pleasant experience, and like I said, I personally don't think I deserve something like this. I'm honored that they are willing to do that for me.
If you or someone you know is interested in the next contest, visit ephenry.com, find Heroescape, fill out the form, and submit it. When we come back, Dr. Janine Staples joins us to share the details behind her new book. Welcome back to the center of it all. We are joined now in studio with Dr. Janine Staples, Associate Professor of Literacy and Language and African American Studies and Women's and Gender and Sexuality Studies. So, Dr. Staples, thank you so much for taking the time and coming to talk to me today.
Thank you, Alicia, for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Of course. So, you have a new book out right here. It's called The Revelations of Asher Toward Supreme Love and Self. So tell us a little bit about your inspiration behind writing this book.
So the project started when I was in graduate school. I was really focused after 9/11 on the ways that particularly women of color were being storied in the media. There were lots of stories about women being disenfranchised, kept out of the political arena, mostly women in fundamentalist Muslim regimes in other parts of the world who could not get a formal education, who were not allowed to inherit property or vote. And so I gathered a group of black women together to talk about these injustices with the hope that we would form some sort of social justice movement. We would do some volunteer service, to maybe send money, to do a petition, to found a school ourselves. And the women that I brought together, who were African American, post-adolescent young adult, were actually more interested in the ways that women from other parts of the world were repressed socially, emotionally, and sexually, and physically. And so they surprised me, this group of women that I brought together. I thought that they would want to protest the fact that women couldn't vote or couldn't get a formal education, but they wanted to protest and study the ways that other black and brown women from other parts of the world were not allowed to choose their romantic partner, were not allowed to choose their sexual partner, were not allowed to think about when they would procreate, if they would procreate. They had no control over their bodies, over their social spheres, over their emotional integrity, over their sexual health. And so the book really arose out of that new and different question of, what are the ways that women develop these lover identities? How do we get in touch with ourselves as emotional, social, and sexual beings?
And so that's kind of one thing that I found interesting when I was researching this book, is that you don't just tell it through like one perspective. You actually break it into 7 of the fragmented identities. So why did you decide to write it that way?
So when I was researching this project, I worked with women for 2 years. It's an ethnographic study, so it was a very deep inquiry. And what I realized was there were moments in the data where I found different voices, alternative voices, where a woman was sort of storying her experience with rape or child sexual abuse from a real space of rage, of violent rage, of anger. And I found that that voice was the most pure representation of her story. There was another voice that I found that was very small. It was a voice of insecurity, worry, doubt, self-loathing, and that voice was also very, very pure. It was the most essential emotive component of that woman, and those fragmented selves cut across every woman, so that you, as a woman, for example, I look at you and I imagine that you probably have 7 fragmented selves contained in your person. And so I decided that it would be smart for me to tell the stories that the women presented in the data from the space of the fragmented selves instead of the place of the one woman.
Okay, and so with that, though, you introduce this idea of the supreme lover as an alternative to that.
Yes.
Why did you bring that into the book as well?
What I discovered was that the 7 fragmented selves that I found that each woman contained in her own person actually form relationships with one another to create lover identities. There are 5 lover identities that I outline in the book, and I can talk about them now really quickly. I gave them pop culture names so that they would be accessible to people and they would remember them. The first lover identity is main chick. The second is side chick. The third is Bonnie. The next is victim. And the 5th is bitch. And each of those lover identities are formed based on the ways that a woman gets abused. However, she's been microaggressively or macroaggressively abused, either through a narcissistic dynamic with an intimate partner or with a violent experience like battery. And so a supreme lover identity is a lover identity that a woman can cultivate to heal a toxic lover identity that she has developed. If over the space of weeks or months or years, a woman has developed the lover identity of bitch, if she's very caustic, very profane, very defensive, very cut off from engagements romantically, socially, sexually, she can develop a supreme lover identity to heal that lover identity.
Okay, well, Dr. Staples, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and talk about your book today. If you guys would like to pick up a copy of Dr. Staples' book, Revelations of Asher, you can do so online at Amazon.com. You're watching The Center of It All. Welcome back to The Center of It All. If you're looking to dress up your veggie plate this summer, we have a recipe for you. Mel has some fried zucchini that even has me eating my vegetables.
If you have a vegetable garden or a husband with a vegetable garden, you're looking for creative ways to cook with zucchini right about now. Today, I'm going to show you how to make one of my family's favorite appetizers. Batter-dipped, panko-crusted, deep-fried zucchini. And I'm serving it with my version of Happy Valley, Hidden Valley ranch dressing. Let's get started. Back in 1954, a plumbing contractor from Alaska bought a ranch in Santa Barbara, California. Steve Henson named his ranch the Hidden Valley Ranch. One day, a customer came up to him and asked to buy 300 bottles of his dressing to take back to Hawaii. Henson didn't have 300 bottles, so he put all of his dry spice blend in some envelopes and told the customer to add a quart of buttermilk and a quart of mayonnaise to each envelope when they got back to Hawaii. Shortly thereafter, Henson closed the ranch and went into the salad dressing business full-time. The rest is history. Back in the 1980s, I was a busy mom raising 3 small boys, and Hidden Valley seasoning packets was my secret weapon for getting them to eat their vegetables. Then one day it occurred to me to make my own dry spice blend. How did I know what to put in it? Well, I read the ingredients list on the back of the packet. Minced garlic, minced onion, dried chives, Italian seasoning blend, parsley, garlic powder, onion powder, celery salt, and white pepper. Everything goes into the bowl with 1 cup of buttermilk and 1 cup of mayonnaise. I just stir these together until they're really smooth and everything is well blended. I'm going to transfer it to a food storage container, cover it, and refrigerate it for several hours or overnight to let all the flavors marinate, and it'll thicken up a whole lot too. I'm just trimming the ends off of 3 or 4 8-inch young tender zucchini, cutting them in half and cutting each half into quarters, which are going to make beautiful spears for deep frying. I've set up what I like to call a deep frying assembly line. In a flat pan for my dry mixture, I put some pancake mix. In a big bowl, I put some more pancake mix, and I whisked it together with beer because I love the yeasty taste that beer adds to this batter. And I whisked it until it's smooth. If you have an aversion to beer, use some club soda. In this dish, I just have an 8-ounce box of panko, crispy Japanese breadcrumbs. I've sliced 6 zucchini into 8 wedges each, and all I've done is I've tossed 8 of them, 6 of them, 4 of them, whatever you want, into the dry mix. It's called dredging. I'm going to use my fork, and I'm going to dip each one of these into the batter and let the excess drizzle back into the bowl. I'm going to do 4 at a time because that's what comfortably fits in the basket of my deep fryer. Swirl these around. And now I'm just going to flip them over and coat them in the panko breadcrumbs. It's a little bit messy. Yes, you do have to wipe your hands off a little bit. My deep fryer is set according to the manufacturer's instructions to 360 degrees. Just going to lift out my basket Pop 4 of these right into the basket. Drop them in and let them cook for exactly 3 minutes. If you're looking at a garden full of zucchini today, make the best of it. Invite a few friends over for happy hour. Serve them my crunch-alicious deep-fried zucchini with my Hidden Valley, Happy Valley Ranch dressing and an ice-cold beer. For these and all of my recipes, just go to my website.
Mel always does such a good job at making her recipes simple and easy to follow. Be sure to let us know what some of your favorite Kitchen Encounters recipes are on our Facebook page. When we come back, we hit the trails for an activity that is gaining popularity not just here in Centre County, but all over the world as well. And we introduce you to our pet of the show. Welcome back to the center of it all. If being outside flying downhill at 25 miles per hour sounds like fun to you, then this could be your next summer activity. Andrew Callista finds out everything you need to know about mountain biking.
Central Pennsylvania is a paradise for outdoor lovers. From PA's Grand Canyon to the many state parks to the 1,000 steps, there is no shortage of activities. But one activity is making noise around the nation.
They're purpose-built trails, and there's 32 miles of them, and I love it because I live 5 minutes from here, so it just takes gas money and a bicycle, and it costs nothing to do it, and it's great for you. I mean, it makes me feel better.
The Allegrippish Trails at Raystown, ranked in the top 15 mountain bike trails by Single Tracks, and as high as number 4 by some publications, they are definitely one of the best activities here in the heart of the Keystone State. And according to enthusiast Derek Graybill, the word is definitely cycling through.
I've encountered so many people out here. That's what also is really awesome about it. It brings other people. Every time I'm out here, I see someone almost from another state, and they're like, oh, you're so lucky to be able to live here right by these. So I interact with people from all over the world that share the same love of mountain biking.
The freedom of the outdoors, where one can be alone with his thoughts. Well, not exactly. This is a highly intense ride through the Raystown terrain that takes your mind off of everything, including your daily grind.
Going 25 miles per hour through the woods, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a rush. It's like a lot of people say these trails are like roller coasters, is what they refer to them as, because they're so flowy. When you go down, you get speed for the next hill and so on. So that's a big draw, and just the speed of how fast you can go and push it to the edge. I almost probably take a spill every time I'm out here, and it's just that feeling, that adrenaline. That's definitely what it is, what I'm looking for, adrenaline rush.
Not a mountain biker? Not a problem. These trails are for you. Perfect for those who are looking to hit the dirt for the first time. And by the way, stop by Rothrock Outfitters. They could help you out.
Any skill level would be welcomed. It doesn't matter if you've never rode before or rode all your life. And even if you didn't have a bike, Rothrock Outfitters would be sure to hook you up with a bike to ride that night. They do rentals, they do demos, and they do all different kinds of bikes, from road bikes to these fat bikes. All different, they have everything.
Those who are dedicated riders, I encourage you to check out the Wednesday evening rides hosted by dedicated riders who meet every Wednesday at Rothrock Outfitters.
It's good for you to ride with other people because it makes you better. I tend to push myself harder when I'm riding with other people, and you go ride with your buddies and you all make it down to the bottom of the trail and you're all pumped up, high-fiving. Yeah, that was awesome. Did you see this? Did you see that? I caught air here, and it's just a great time.
This June, a skills park will be an added addition to the trails, hopefully to attract those who maybe like a little BMX style in their life.
It's going to be really neat. It's just adding new features to what we already have. It's just going to be even better yet, and hopefully draw more people that are into that kind of lifestyle.
To stay up to date on the trails, follow Allegrippish Trails on Twitter and Facebook, and check out racetown.org for the Wednesday night rides.
That was just the beginning. Raystown recently hosted Dirt Fest, and we'll have all the muddy details for you in the next coming weeks. we stay outside and head over to the golf course where Matt Makovich gives us some practice tips.
Thanks, Alicia. You know, one of the biggest mistakes I see when people come to the driving range is not having a good practice routine. This is a key foundation for taking your golf game from the driving range onto the course. Here's a great example of my practice routine. So as you can see on my practice routine, there's a lot of focus on short game and working on some of my mid-irons. Most importantly though, there's a plan written down. Before you even come to the driving range, you want to make sure that you have a detailed plan on exactly what you want to work on. So I've already worked on my short game for the day. Now it's time to work on some of my mid-irons. A big key thing to do with my mid-irons is make sure that I have my alignment sticks on the ground and make sure that I have my targets picked out on the driving range. I'm going to hit my 9-iron here to a target about 140 yards right down the range, simulating exactly what I'm going to be doing on the golf course. Now that I completed my assigned full swing work, I have 25 shots available to me to work on any swing thought that I have. Today I'm going to be working on my hand position. I've struggled a little bit with having my hands behind the golf ball, which is not ideal. Today we're going to work on keeping my hands just ahead of the golf ball for more solid contact. So the big key thing with the practice routine is number one, make sure you have a plan. Come to the driving range ready to work with a detailed written example of what you want to work on with your golf game. Also, make sure to simulate as much of the golf course as you can on the driving range. This can be done by hitting to exact targets, by hitting to proper distances, and even creating fairways on the driving range to mimic where you'll be hitting off the tee box with your driver. Having these plans in place will help transfer what you're doing on the driving range out to the golf course. For any additional golf tips, listen to me every Friday on 9:70 a.m. at 5:30 p.m. on the Keystone Sports Beat. And as always, if you have any additional golf questions, see your local PGA professional.
We hope that as the weather has been getting warmer, your golf skills have been warming up as well. We recently met one beagle who's excited to be out in the sun and to find his new home. It is time now for our pet of the show. We are with Nittany Beagle Rescue, joined now by Sam and Freckles. So Sam, why don't you tell us a little bit about this furry guy who you brought with you today?
This is Freckles. He's a 7-year-old male. He's a beagle mix. He's a lighter beagle, and he has light eyes, which is very unique for a beagle too. He loves to play. He loves to cuddle. He's great with people. He's great with other dogs. He's house trained. He just needs his forever home now.
So you said before we had the tennis ball here, he was running, playing fetch. Is that something he likes to do often?
Oh, he loves playing fetch. It's his favorite thing. And it's rare. I think maybe he has retriever in him or something, because he'll actually come back with the ball. I've dropped the leash a couple times, and he hasn't sniffed away from me, which is what a beagle would normally do.
He was pretty quick and pretty accurate at catching that ball every time we were throwing it up into the air.
I think he could be a baseball, the next Air Bud, or baseball bud. There he is.
So as you can see, he's really excited, but still loves to cuddle as well. If you or someone you know think you could be a good fit for Freckles' forever home, please don't hesitate to call Nittany Beagle Rescue. And as always, if you would like to be involved but can't adopt, you can always volunteer. You can visit Nittany Beagle Rescue's website for more information. That brings us to the end of this week's Center of It All. Be sure to visit our Facebook page for any episodes you may have missed. We'll see you next time.